Hi everyone, welcome to our Blender tutorial by Lauren, Rocky, and Ariel. Today we will show you how to create a simple 3D apple on Blender. Blender is a computer graphics software used to make 3D models, animations, visual effects, and more. It's a completely free and open source technology that anyone can use to create 3D content.
This tutorial will be a simple overview of the basic tools on Blender for any beginner with no previous experience with 3D modeling. All technical terms used throughout the video can be found in the description box below. Let's get started.
When you first open Blender, there will be a pre-made cube as your sculpting base. This little shape to the left of the cube is the camera. On the right side of the screen, you can find the camera button, which you can click at any time to see your camera's perspective of the object. The little pop right beside the cube is your light source, which is like a torch showing the direction of light on your subject's surface. To move the light source around, you can easily check on the G key and drag your mouse. When you press and hold on the middle mouse button, you can move your screen to see the behind the scenes for your entire project. The toolbar to your left-hand side allows you to select, move, and rotate objects. Then on the top bar, you can change to different modes. However, we will only focus on the basic ones, being object mode and edit mode. In the bottom left corner, you will find the animation timeline, which is more advanced feature. Moving to the right side, you can see the layers of the project. And to the bottom right is a sidebar with many technical tools for more advanced users.
Now, moving on to our tutorial of creating an apple. First, you can delete the cube by right-clicking and pressing X. Next, on your keyboard, press Shift and then A, which will give you the mesh options. Mesh options provide you with several solid base shapes to choose from. Now that we have a sphere for the apple, we can start to sculpt it. An important shortcut to remember when sculpting is using the Tab button on the keyboard to switch between the object mode and edit mode. Once you have your mesh ready as a sphere, select proportional editing to begin shaping the sphere into an apple. Hold G plus C on your keyboard to drag and reshape the upper vertex of the sphere. Moving to the lower half of the sphere, make a similar indent at the bottom vertex by using that same G plus Z shortcut and drag into the sphere. Our apple still looks like a simple circle, so we can make indents and bumps to make the shape more organic to look like an apple. You can randomly select the planes to make dents in the apple by holding Alt and then clicking on the plane you'd like to adjust, as shown here. Then, by clicking S, you can scale your shape at the specific sections you've selected. Keep in mind, while creating your apple, it's helpful to move the entire mesh around from time to time to make sure you're getting your desired shape. You can randomly select these planes to make dents into the apple. Click back on Vertex to create rings and rippled edges around the top corner of the apple. By doing this, you can create a subtle dent on the top of the apple.
You will still have a rigid shape for the surface of the apple, but you can easily fix this by returning to object mode. Then, move to the right menu bar and select modifiers. Scroll down to generate and click subdivision surface. This will help you smooth out the surface of your apple. Also, make sure the levels viewpoint and render are set to 1 and 1, as you can see here. Once you're happy with your apple sculpture, you can make the surface much smoother by clicking Shade Smooth. You can continue to make further adjustments to your sculpture to make it even more realistic by adding more bumps, by clicking on the plane you'd like to adjust and holding the G key to move it in and out.
And finally, this is what the base shape of your apple should look like. Continue to make your apple realistic by repeating this step on other planes of the sphere to add more bumps and dents. After this adjustment, you should have a more realistic bump of the bottom of the apple. Now we are going to add a small stem at the top of the apple. You can easily do this with a new mesh layer. Click Shift A and add a new cylinder. At the lower left corner, immediately after adding the mesh, you should see the Add Cylinder tab. Here, adjust the radius to these numbers. Let's hide the apple mesh for now to avoid distractions while editing, and so we can see the stem a little bit better. Go back to editing mode to create new planes on the cylinder. Click Ctrl+R to create 3 or 4 more planes for better adjustment. When moving a plane, click on Alt and select the row you'd like to move. You can also hold and drag to select all the edges at once. Then click R to rotate the edges so the stem looks a little more realistic. Now that our stem is ready, you can go back to object mode to smooth out the surface. Same with the apple surface, click on Material in the left menu bar. Select Add Modifier, click Generate, and then select Subdivision Surface. You can continue to make further adjustments in edit mode by using that same G key to reshape the edges to your liking. Once you are happy with your final project, select Shade Smooth, and now your apple is ready. You can easily multiply the shape by holding the Shift key to select the apple and its stem, and then use the shortcut Shift D. Then click on G to drag it out while the objects are still selected.
Now that you've created your 3D apple shape, we'll demonstrate a basic way to add color to your creation. Start by clicking on the viewpoint option at the top menu bar. Then, make sure you've selected the object of your choice. In this case, it is the apple surface. Click here on the material bar and you should have this pop up. Click on New and select Base Color here. The color wheel should pop up and you can easily scroll through any color value you prefer, either lighter or darker. Since our object is an apple, we can settle for a darker shade of red. Repeat the same process for the other apples to color them in. You can choose to make them a different color or shade as per your preference. For more advanced users, you can import a variety of realistic textures and other prints using the Blender database. Here is our final product of our beginner-friendly Blender apple creation. You can adjust the lighting and click the camera button to capture the perfect image of your creation. Once again, you can find all technical terms mentioned throughout the tutorial in the description box below. After spending more time playing around with Blender, we figured out a way to add a realistic texture and create an animation to show you more possibilities to improve your design.
We all generally enjoy using Blender for the first time. There are many tutorials available online. However, it was time-consuming to learn all the different tools and applications. Blender is a great software for those familiar with 3D and animation design. It is completely free and has limitless creative possibilities. From our experience, we found Blender to be an amazing application for advanced users. but as we were all beginners, using Blender for the first time felt overwhelming, even when following online tutorials.
Our tutorial covered the steps to create a basic 3D object. However, this software offers so much more in the world of animation. Blender can also be used to create art, develop computer games, build interactive 3D applications, create films, and so much more. A popular example of a professional application of Blender is the Netflix animation movie, Next Gen. This movie follows a teenage girl and her adventures with a high-technology robot. The movie was created by industry professionals using only Blender. It was then sold to Netflix in 2018 for $30 million.
We hope you enjoyed our tutorial. We encourage you to test out Blender and follow along with our Apple tutorial to get a better sense of the basic tools. Find our list of terms and downloadable assets in the description below. Thank you for watching!